So welcome Dhamma friends, this is Jayantha, um, and I decided to make a little video, just a little showcase of my little Buddhist library. It's a small library, but it's growing, and this is for those at the Buddhist Center who always ask me about different books to learn about Dhamma and different things like that. So I'm just going to go through a couple of them. I have a good amount of books that are just not really like in print, and they're just kind of special books like this one, Preserving the Dhamma, which is on the 80th birthday of Bhante G. So I'm not really going to go too much into those, but I'm going to go into, when I talk about the book, I'll try to remember where I got it. This one right here is one of my first books. I always love these idiot guides. The Complete Idiot Guide to Understanding Buddhism. You can never go wrong with that, right? This was also one of my first books right here. It's an introduction to the Buddha and his teachings. That's by Berkowitz and Cohn. That's what they call it. It's one of my favorite books. This is Being Dharma by Venerable Ajahn Chah. For those of you who've been to my Dhamma readings on Sunday, I have read this. Did a couple months to read this book. It's a great book. You see all the notes? I'm a little bit of a post-it note crazy. I like to remember these things. So that's Being Dharma, The Essence of the Buddha's Teaching by Ajahn Chah. What else is there? There's the 7 Factors of Enlightenment. I don't know if you can get that anywhere. It's just one of those books that kind of picked up at a monastery. So next, have a book that was highly recommended. I haven't got a chance to really read it yet, but it's called The Places That Scare You by Pema Chodron. She's a nun in the Tibetan tradition, I believe. Very highly recommended. I haven't been able to read all of these books yet. They're kind of going through them as I can. The Way It Is by Ajahn Sumedho. Another one I haven't read yet, but I'm looking forward to. This one's a pretty popular book. I've read a good amount of this. It's The Wings to Awakening by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. The Mind Like Fire Unbound. I don't know, this is also by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Another book I haven't gotten a chance to read yet. But you might know Thanissaro Bhikkhu with a lot of his translations on Access to Insight. And if you're a fan of Ajahn Brahm, you know this one. The book was called Open the Door of Your Heart when he originally did it, but for some reason they decided to, in North America, name it Who Ordered This Truckload of Dung? Inspiring Stories for Welcome Life's Difficulties. If you watch Ajahn Brahm videos, you've heard these stories. He uses them in the Dhamma talks all the time. They're great stories. Another Ajahn Brahm book that I've gotten a chance to read, haven't finished it, but Mindfulness, Bliss, and Beyond, A Meditator's Handbook. This is a book that I'm looking forward to reading, especially as somebody who is contemplating renunciation and going forth. It's One Night Shelter from Home to Homelessness by Bhikkhu Rahula. If you watch a lot of videos on YouTube of monastics, you might have come across Bhikkhu Rahula. He was also at Bhavana Society for a number of years. A book that also comes highly recommended Not necessarily a straight up Dhamma book, but it's called Forest Recollections, Wandering Monks in 20th Century Thailand. It's right up my alley as well. Haven't read that yet. This was the last book I read. I highly suggest it. Again, not necessarily a straight up Dhamma book, but gives a lot of insight into the lives of monastics. And in this book they go on Tudang, which is a wandering, where they're wandering, in England with just their bowls and, the requisites. And, it's a great story about the having faith in basic human kindness. And you learn a lot of good Dhamma on the way. If you don't have this book, I highly recommend it. Mindfulness in Plain English by Bhante G. If you want to learn about Vipassana, this is it. Mindfulness in Plain English. Extremely important. Now there's a couple other ones by Bhante G that I haven't read yet. There's Beyond Mindfulness in Plain English. I have to get to that. Then there's 8 Mindful Steps to Happiness. Another one that I haven't really been able to get to. Now, this is what we're currently doing on Sundays. The 4 Foundations of Mindfulness in Plain English. Let's see, what else? Another Journey into Mindfulness, the autobiography of Bhante G. Haven't read that yet. This is a book that I'm very excited to look into as well. It's called The Art of Disappearing, The Buddhist Path to Lasting Joy by Ajahn Brahm. Just started that, haven't really read too much into it. But this is the book that I'm reading mostly, trying to get through. It's called The Buddha Walks into a Bar by Lodro Rinzler. He's a lay, I guess that's like a teacher, a master of the Tibetan tradition, and it's pretty good. It's mostly through the Mahayana tradition, but even for a Theravada Buddhist like myself, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Now we're getting directly into the core of things, directly to the words of the Buddha. We have, if you are not reading the suttas, or you've never read the suttas and you want to get into them, this is a great book, because it goes through, it's hand-selected suttas from all the different, the Nikayas and all that, and, it basically goes by topic, like what the Buddha said about this, and here's the suttas there. It's called In the Buddha's Words, an anthology of discourses from the Pali Canon, introduced by Bhikkhu Bodhi. Bhikkhu Bodhi's book. Highly suggested. Now the next 2 are pretty common and well known. The Sutta Nipata. This one is a book, bought copy. I bought this off of Amazon a bunch of years ago. When I do the Dhamma readings, I read from this book, from H. Saritsa. And we have the Dhammapada by, who is this by? Ananda Maitreya. All good. But these are my pride and joy right here. These last 4. We have the 4 Nikayas. The 3 by Bhante Bhikkhu Bodhi, and the one by Maurice Walsh, which is, I guess, a translation that holds to today, or else I think Bhikkhu Bodhi probably would have made a different translation. So we have the long discourses, the Diginikaya. Then we have The medium, the middle length discourses, the Majjhima Nikaya. And of course, the connected discourses, the Samyutta Nikaya. And the numerical discourses, Anguttara Nikaya. This one just came out just about a month ago, 2 months ago. I had that on pre-order on Amazon for a while. So that's the large crux of my my Buddhist library. Though I do have a couple of little things here. If you don't have this, I highly suggest this. Good question, good answer. You can find that in PDF form online. It's and especially if you are trying to explain Buddhism to somebody, or they have, basically it's like a FAQ. All of us who are on the internet, you know what a FAQ is, frequently asked question. This is the unofficial, official Buddhist FAQ, I would say. Important book, the frames of reference, 4 frames of reference. And that's pretty much it. Just a couple little books. You go to enough monasteries and places, you start to collect all of these books. So friends, that is my little library. Just this one here, this one section. And it's growing. I highly suggest, if you're serious in the practice, start developing your own little library too. You know, this is all Dhamma. It's all important stuff. So, once again, as I always say, until next time, much metta and sukhi hantu. May you be happy.